Voila. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
I see the recording.
Take it away, boss.
Oh, what do you want me to say?
Who are you?
Who am I? Okay, my name's Gemma Root, and I coach and own and train at Crossfit Trailblazer in Christchurch, New Zealand. And I've been doing CrossFit for, it will be my 8th year now, I think. Yeah, 8 years now. A long time. A long time. Yeah.
Closing down on double figures.
Yeah, I know. Scary. Really scary.
What initially gave you the push to sort of walk through the shutters and to go to a CrossFit gym? You know what I mean?
Actually, I was studying my postgraduate degree in art at the same time because that's my background. I did a degree in fine art, so painting and sculptures, just to put it really basic. And I was doing my postgraduate, and my partner at the time was training in a non-affiliated gym. Later became affiliated, but he was training there, and he's like, you got to come and do this, it's fun. And no, I'm studying, I'll just wait for my exhibitions to finish, because I'm one of those people that throw everything into more so one thing than multiple things. And so I was pretty dedicated to that at the time. And then pretty much once those exhibitions finish and my assessments finish, I just started, and then I just haven't stopped since. So that was at the end of 2014. I think that's right.
Nice.
So long ago.
Nah. 14. What was I doing? I can't remember what I was doing this morning. So, what did you do before it? Were you a sports lady before it, or were you just sort of dicking around and not doing much?
The sports I when I was 5 to 15, I played soccer. So I played soccer as in football. There you go. Football.
Yeah,
sorry,
football, not soccer.
Wrong terminology. I was playing football because my family are English and they're all football orientated. So all 7 of us kids have played football once in our life. And I loved it. I did actually pretty good. I represented the country and whatnot. I traveled overseas, so I was quite good at it. And then I became 15, and I was like, I'm way too cool for this. And then I was not cool at all for it at all. I should have stayed with it. Totally regret that decision, but just was in high school, fell out of it, got into that whole partying scene. And then from there I hadn't done any sport until I was 28, and that's in 2014 when I started. So I hadn't done anything, just been going through my 20s, partying, just traveling and doing all that kind of jazz. So I was pretty green when I started.
Damn, that's a fair bit out of sport and the whole training scene.
Yeah.
And then you jump into the deep end and start doing fitness for time.
Yeah. And then I just
peak.
everybody else just fell in love with it and just became addicted to it. And then after that, after the end of 2014, that gym became affiliated, and as friends tended to go to different gyms because they wanted to do different things. And I was always an endurance fitness athlete more than a strength athlete, and I needed to get strong because I fell into that competitive environment. So I followed friends and going to a different gym called CrossFit East Tamaki, and that's pretty much from 2015 where I was all the way up until I came down to Christchurch. And that's where everything kind of started for me, falling into the gym at the right time.
The right time.
How it happened. Yeah.
It's funny how that happens, kind of stars align, and you I don't know, like you said, join the right gym at the right time, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, 2015 I started at East Tamaki, and there were a couple of individuals that had qualified for regionals. So my coach at the time, still is now, Callum Gifford from Renegade Performance. He qualified for regionals. They'd had also Megan Gifford, previously Signal, his wife. She was a really high level up and coming CrossFit athlete, but just had got injured. And then it was my first CrossFit Open, and East Tamaki were pretty competitive. And then they're like, let's put together a team, see if we can get in. So it was myself and obviously 5 other people, because it was 6 people in a team at the time. And so that year, my first year of being competitive, we went to the Pacific Regional, and came 34th.
Wait.
Yeah,
So
nailed it.
wait. So you've been doing CrossFit how long?
I think 7 years. This will be my 8th year.
I mean, no. At the time of going to regionals, how long have you been doing CrossFit?
Oh, 2000. Okay. I'm going to get this right. See, this is why it's been a very long time and I'm very bad with maths. So it would have been at the end of 2013 or the beginning of 2014 that I started at CrossFit East Tamaki. 2014 was my first regional in a team with CrossFit East Tamaki. And then it went on. That makes more sense.
Oh, so it took you what, like 6 months, and you're already at regionals in a team?
But remember, my team, we came 34th. I couldn't muscle up then. I couldn't do strict handstand push-ups. We had to do muscle ups. We had to do strict handstand push-ups. I couldn't do any of that. Like, I could barely snatch 50 odd kgs. It was terrible. In fact, I don't even think I could snatch 50 kgs back then. So the standards were very different, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, still getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what was it more like a cat in headlights? And you were just like, holy fuck, what am I doing in here? Or were you like, all right, let's go back and let's train for this?
That first year was just like, holy fuck, what's going on? Like, and also because like I wasn't very confident in myself and my skills and my abilities, that I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it was my second competition. I had done like a postal online competition before that, but other than that, that was like my first proper competition. So I was totally out of my depth, totally overwhelmed. But we had like the people in our team were really good leaders for our team. So we had Zach Nothaleen, who owns CrossFit East Tamaki, and later went on to stayed on with our team. Then we had a guy called Aidan Chimley, who had been competing for quite some time. So, and then 2 girls, Kaz and Brooke, and a guy called Adam. So there was a little bit of experience in there anyway. So it allowed me to feel a bit more comfortable to actually try and do some damage while we were in regionals. Didn't do much. It's okay.
So how many times have you been to regionals then?
I've been to regionals in a team 3 times, and I've been to regionals as an individual 5 times.
So which one?
2 times, sorry.
2 times.
Yeah, because it's 5 in total.
Ah, wow.
Funny,
so like what
pretty sure that's right.
What do you prefer, the team or indie?
Team.
Yeah.
But I've had like my experiences with team I've been quite lucky, because after like 2014, that team, we were like, oh, okay, that was a bit shit. But like that year, they had changed the qualification process to be top 5 of individuals and top 5 of teams qualified for the CrossFit Games. And then at the end of that year, Cullum, who went as an individual, was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do individual. But because this new qualification process came out and Megan had recovered and we had kind of gained a couple of other people in the gym that were really good, we were like, why don't we just do this competition called the Australian Affiliate, which was in Brisbane at the end of 2014. We're like, we'll do that competition as a team and we'll see how we go. We managed to come second to CrossFit Active then, who had like Chad McKay, Alethea Boone, Harriet. So like we're pretty stacked. So we were pretty stoked to actually come in that position. And so we're like, okay, with this new qualification process, why don't we just give this team, which we called at the time, Zach's Pack.
Nice.
Yeah. After that, I think it's Hacks Pack or whatever it was, like back in the day. We decided to put this team and we're like, yeah, we'll try for regionals next year and see how we go. We didn't really have a lot of belief in ourselves, like to really do damage, but we're just like, okay, this competition went really well for us against a good stacked team. Let's see how we go. And we were all just really close friends by then anyway. So it was like a group of friends that got together, and at that time they didn't have like superstar teams. So it was all like the affiliate cup too. So everybody was born and bred from CrossFit East Tamaki basically. So that was pretty cool. And then 2015 was our first year that we went as Zaxpac to regionals, and we're like, yeah, okay, cool, we'll qualify. Worked really hard. Everybody was super focused and determined to get a spot. So very different mindset as to the year beforehand. And we just gelled really well. And that comes down to like spending heaps of time with one another, like weekends full of trainings, hanging out, eating, going out, just spending time with one another. And like we'd do our own individual trainings like Monday to Friday, but like weekends would just be dedicated to the team. And then from there we qualified, came second at regionals, which was pretty mean. So that was like our first qualifications for the games, which was pretty huge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty huge for us. I think we're the second team, maybe the first. I mean, no, the first team from New Zealand that's ever qualified for the games. So that was pretty cool. Um, so yeah, so then we qualified for the games, and training for the games is so different to training for regionals because they're both very different competitions in themselves. Regionals is like high skill level sprint kind of fast work where like a lot from my experience of being at the games is a lot of grip work and grind work. But made it to the games, and then basically it was like 2014 all over again as a team, like totally overwhelmed, not knowing what we were doing. We were basically competing injured too. We had like a hamstring tear. What else we did? We had like something was wrong with someone's lower back. Like everybody was just hammered from day one. But it also came down to like some programming that we did. So like I think we found out we had to do a mile run for time on one of the days. And bear in mind, this is like back in the day when it was in LA. So like the temperature was out the gate too.
Yeah.
And we had to do a mile run. And then Callum had us like 2 days before like doing like mile run times and like sprint for time, like running like for sprinting and whatnot to train for it. And we're like, oh, that's so like when you look back in you look back at it and you're like, that's so stupid. But yeah, so it was a hard experience at the games. Like it was cool, but we were not competing, we were participating. We were participating to stay alive, basically.
Yeah.
So that was a really rough year. We came back quite disappointed in ourselves because we didn't get to compete at the level that we believed ourselves to be at. And then so we were like, we had a couple of months off because like training for the games when you're like in January, it's the Open, and you roll right into regionals and you roll right into the games training. It's like 7 to 8 months of like real intense training. That's all you think about. That's all you do. That's all you work towards. So you miss out on birthdays. You miss out on all the social functions. You miss out on family. Family get mad with you. Partner get mad with you. Like it's but you're solely focused on that thing, which is great. And I guess as an athlete, you do need to be selfish. But yeah, so that we took a couple of months off, and then we're like, nah, fuck that. My language. And we were just like, nah, that's not how we want to go out. That's not how we want our experience of the games to be. So at the end of 2015, we were like, nah, we're going to come together. We're going to do this properly and do it better than what we did last year. And we put our heads down as the Open started in 2016, put our heads down, did really good work, really good grind work, and we were like super focused on winning regionals that year because we were like, no, we want to make a statement. And which is real cool because we followed through with it and like went to regionals and basically dominated, came first, which was pretty cool at the Pacific Regional. So that was really cool. Same team. We only had one guy that was different because our old guy, who Zach's pack consisted of Zach Nothling, Callum Gifford, myself, Megan Signal, Nicola Hanna. In 2015 it was Richard Iodine. In 2016 it was Michael Rankin. So we just like had to swap out a guy, but Michael had been like in CrossFit for like 5 years anyway, so he was pretty good. Jumped into the team, fit in really, really well. We bonded and gelled really well as friends, and then went to regionals and came first and really dominated, which was awesome. It was good for our confidence. And then went to the games, and you know what? We got better, but so did everybody else. Everybody else got so much better too. So I think we actually, the first year we came, I think like 33rd, and then we came 29th the year after. So it's just like, it's just hard. It was hard, but it gives you like that perspective of how incredible like those teams are and those athletes are and whatnot. Because we were like, yeah, we're good. We can be competitive and whatnot. And we were to a degree. Funny enough, our best event was a swim event, which was like, we had one person, Megan, who like was terrified of open water, literally terrified of it. And that was our best event finish, which is like 15th, I think. Funny.
Oh.
But yeah, that was an amazing experience, like hard because we had higher expectations for ourselves, but it was cool. It was amazing. And the journey itself with all those people, like they're my best friends, they're my life friends now. It was incredible. I love team. I love team. The years after I did individuals, and that was a whole different ball game.
Yeah, that's a lot more. It's a lot more psychological, right? You become like so introverted, like you just got to be that weird person sat in a corner just doing your own thing, and in a team, like everyone just pulls you through it.
Yeah,
Do you
it's just
think? Do you
fun.
think playing football like helped your team?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. How I work as an athlete is I prefer to be accountable to other people. And I think I learned that while in team as opposed to being accountable to myself. And I just love working harder for other people rather than for myself. So team, and because the people that I did it with, like I said, like they're my best friends. So it was just like training with a family constantly. It was like a real strong support system that we had built too. So yeah, I do think that football gave me that like that workmanship in a team as opposed to being by an individual. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like there's like everyone has the ability to push themselves to like a disgusting level on their own. But like it's something different lining up with your boys and girls next to you and just be like, I'm actually willing to die for these
Yeah.
people.
100%.
Like
Crazy as
I
it
will.
sounds, it's
It's
so true.
yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But at the same
Yeah.
time, like it's our thing. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, lining up and you probably would go and get some chalk if it was just you. You'd be like, I'm just not fit enough. But if
Yeah.
it's someone else, like you would put yourself in that grave.
Yeah,
Which is
100%, 100%. It's just so different. It's really rewarding, I think, too,
mm,
as well. But like I've done individual stuff and I've done well, and then I've done very, very badly at individual stuff. So I constantly think about my individual experiences, and they, I believe, have made quite an impact on me as like in choosing team and choosing as individual athlete. So, oh shit, my computer's dying. I must charge it. So, so I did individual. So after 2016 at the games, I was like, oh, okay. See, look at all our cat towers. Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
And then there's the cat up the top there. And then there's the Groot that someone gave me for a year because that was like my nickname for a year I went as an individual. Funny, eh?
Nice.
Yeah, so at the end of 2000 and where am I, 16, or after the games, we were like, oh, okay, there's individual goals that we all had and wanted to achieve. I wanted to try individuals as an individual I want to try regionals as an individual, and so did Megan. And Cullen was a bit broken at the time, and also wanted to do individuals, but he at regionals, but he's just a bit broken, bit older man, been doing a lot of fitness, a lot of sport his entire life.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so we kind of just decided that, okay, that will be the end of our Zax Pack kind of games journey,
Mm.
which was quite sad at the time because, like, you just, like, I could continuously have gone back every single year and just been like, yeah, nah, let's do the team, let's do this team because I love those people so much.
Yeah.
But then, then it was like, nah, let's try do some individual stuff. And at the beginning of 2016, 17, I like went through a big personal thing,
Mm-hmm.
where I broke up with my partner of quite some time. So I'd been together with him for like 14 years and we just split.
Shit.
It was mutual. It was fine. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that happened, but it kind of messed with me in my head a bit. And
Yeah.
I just subconsciously took CrossFit as a way of just kind of dealing with it and managing
Mm-hmm.
it. And it was actually like really a really good outlet for me because I didn't actually give a shit about CrossFit at all. I just did it for the sake of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great outlet. I just grew so much as an athlete, weird enough, because I just didn't think about what I did. I just put my head down and did the work. Didn't care if I wasn't skilled enough because I've never been before that I was never like a high school athlete. All the other girls on my team had higher skills than me, but my skills grew quite dramatically over that time. And then I just put my head down and did the work and then qualified for regionals that year, which was pretty cool. As an individual, myself and Megan did. And that regionals, I just went there with no expectations. And that whole talk about not like focusing on the process and not focusing on the outcome is so true. Like it really, really is true. And it was true for me that year. And I just didn't have any expectations of myself. I just put my head down, did the work, didn't really have a whole lot of belief in myself because I didn't really care much about CrossFit. I was just like, I'm doing this for the sake of just keeping myself busy to a degree.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
obviously, like training for regionals is like full on in itself. Like we were training 2 or 3 hours at night
Mm.
because I'd work a full-time job as an event manager before that. And then weekends would be consisted of like Saturday and Sunday regional training too at the same time. So like my life revolved around CrossFit without me actually caring a lot about it. Weird.
Well, it's your meditation, right? Like that.
Yeah.
It sounds really like masochist, but the sort of pain that you inflict on yourself during a workout or during whatever physically is like it's in a way meditative.
Yeah.
It like calms you down and it takes you away from whatever you're focusing on mentally, and now you have to focus on whatever you have to do physically.
Yeah, or you can just zone out and go into that zone where you don't even know exactly where you are. You're just like doing work in mind, like that mindless moving concept,
Mm.
right? Um, so it was super helpful. And then went to regionals and did really well that year. I came ninth at regionals as an individual, which is
So,
pretty cool in the Pacific region. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm gapping it. And I went to Australia for just a few months. My brother works at a resort up the coast on Perth, legit in the desert. And I went there and I was like, I'm spending time here because I just needed to get away. And so I went from this really regime, like full on training, months of it, to like a gym where I had to create a squat rack out of like, what did I do? Like rubbish buckets and stuff because I had
nice.
no squat rack. And it was all those iron plates. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool. And like I went there and it's like everybody that works there is basically like a tourist person anyway, or someone that's traveling. So the culture of it is just basically like you just get on the piss every single night because there's
Mm.
nothing else to do, literally nothing to do. But that wasn't in my nature, and I don't think I was ready to move on from it. So, like, trying to feel my way over in a space there when I was still like an athlete and trying to move on from this relationship that had passed was just like pretty surreal.
Mm.
Um, so that was like my 2017 experience of CrossFit to a degree. Like I didn't care about it, but I did really, really well. And was super proud of my effort that I actually put into it because I did work hard. I
Mm.
just kind of didn't really care about what I did. Um, and
That's
then,
a really Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say that's a really strong example of like focusing on the process, like you said, instead of the outcome. And
Mm,
like if you focus on like putting one foot in front of the other, like you wherever you're gonna go to, that will you'll eventually get there.
yeah,
But like instead of like looking around and saying, "Oh, I want to go there, I want to be there, blah, blah, blah," and not actually moving anywhere, you're not getting work done.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
focus on one foot in front of the other, and then
yeah,
a year down the line, you're gonna turn around, you're not gonna know where you are. You're gonna be like, "Holy shit! Like I've moved
yeah,
so far."
yeah,
And you got ninth at regionals simply because you came in and like you said, mindless movement. I'm just gonna move for 2-3 hours, and then tomorrow I'll do the same thing. But today I'm just gonna, I've got a handstand push-up workout,
yeah,
and then you've got to do some GHD or whatever. Like just
yeah.
focusing on the process.
It was cool. I distinctively remember the only workout that I was like nervous is because I was so dumb. I had made it into like the second to second to top heat, like not even the top heat, and I
Mm-hmm.
was in the second to top heat, and I was just like, fuck, I'm not meant to be here. This is too high. Like, this is too high. All these athletes and whatnot. Like, so stupid. And because of that workout, like, I remember because I did it all wrong. It was
Yeah.
like an overhead lunge into like a double unders, into like wall balls, into like more double unders, into like wall balls again. Oh, sorry, overhead lunge again. So, like, totally didn't went out of the gate, went against my plan, was nervous about everybody else around me. So, and I remember it because I was like, that's the only workout that I worried about. The rest of it, I was just like, I know I had to do just my thing and that's it. And I couldn't be disappointed with anything because like I was just went out and just did what I did. And yeah. I always remember that one workout because it just grinds with me because I'm just like, ugh, worried about being in the second top heat. What a loser, eh? Not even like in the top heat. Well, oh my lita, the things we worry about. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
silly.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, that was like my 2017 experience as an individual and at regionals. That was my first experience. And like obviously like I enjoyed it because I didn't really like care about it. So I did really well. Then left. Then when I left for Australia, after Australia I ended up going down to Queenstown and was working in Queenstown for a bit, and then came up to Christchurch because my old company that I used to work for, the event company, had a branch here.
Mm.
So that's how I ended up here in Christchurch. And then just had known Kip from CrossFit Trailblazer, and then I would always come down and train and whatnot, who
Mm.
eventually became my partner.
Mm.
And then once I kind of settled myself in Christchurch, well, I kind of did. I went back and forth from Auckland to Christchurch often. But once I'd settled myself in Christchurch in 2018, I was like, okay, I'm going to set myself this challenge of being in the open, competing in the open in this new space where I'm not surrounded by the people that I'm used to being around. I don't have my coach here at all or anything like that. Like, this is new. I've just got to do
Mm.
the work by myself. Um, and so I set myself the challenge to try and get as high as I could in the open because I was like, oh, I'll just try this and see. Um, and so I put my head down. I did a lot of work, a lot of work. I still was following Renegade Performance at the same time. So that's Callum Gifford's program, and have
Mm-hmm.
done since. And then I met a couple of really lovely people along the way, Stacey Lisa Tunga and David Wiggin, who are really good athletes down here in Christchurch. And they helped me through it. But I made it my goal to get as high as I could in the open, and was succeeded that year in getting New Zealand's fittest, which was pretty cool. Um, so I got that in 2018. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to regionals because I obviously qualified. And I'm going to try and do my very best to qualify for the top five.
Mm.
And I had that, I was just focused on that and becoming top five. So, like, you could imagine the outcome or the experience I had at regionals was very much outcome based, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to was very much more of process and experience based.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a completely different experience at regionals. I like went there and I've got some old tendonitis in my elbows, and the way that I was rowing at the time was like I would row super, super high, upper back, pulls on my um, biceps and my forearms, so my tendonitis tightened up. This was in triple three was the first event at regionals. So a 3K row into 300 dubs into a 3 mile run, and I just died on that rower. My tendonitis flared up. Double unders, I could not double under. It was not a good time. And then I had to go for this run, and that's an event that would be generally quite good for me because it's more of an endurance based event. And again, I was expecting for myself to do well in it, and I didn't do bad. I caught up in the run because I had no choice, but made it very, very painful. And but it's and then from there, my tendonitis, I just couldn't manage it very well, and it jacked up my forearm and my elbow so much that my shoulder just would get super tight, and then I had to bench, and I was like, oh, this is not a good time. And then I had to do heavy snatches, and that's my biggest challenge. I don't like to say weakness, but it's my biggest challenge is heavy snatches, especially under fatigue. And I just crumbled quite a bit. Where did I come? I think I came 27th or something like that year or something. So dropped significantly, which was the outcome, which was the result of my performance. Just fine now when I look back at it, but I was so focused on hoping to qualify for the games that it just didn't happen. And after that, I was just didn't know how to look at it. So yeah, that was my last individual experience of any competition, really. 2018. And I've always told myself that I need to do an individual competition to overcome that experience because it was so shit. It was, when I look at it, it was my biggest failure, but the most important lesson that I've ever learned. But I'm still trying to figure out what that lesson is. But I had gone 6 years or 5 years without any injury, without any real huge failure. So that's a good run for me. That was a good run. So something, so it came my way to make me learn something, and I'm still trying to figure that out. And I'm still needing to do that individual competition to be I got to get over this fear of failing that badly, even though I've got to stop saying it was a failure because it wasn't. I still made it to regionals. I still did really well. I still competed. It's just not what I had in mind for me. But
like you said, it was a lesson, right? And
yeah,
it seemed like you competed on someone else's terms, or you competed on the competition's terms rather than on your terms. Like the year before, in comparison, you did it for the process, right? And then you did it for you. That was the reason why you were there was 100% for you. And then the reason why you were there the year after was not. It was the standing on the podium, getting to the next stage. It's the whole thing of for example, in a semi-final, right? The team that thinks about this is our final ends up going through. The team that thinks, all right, we've still got one more game to play. Maybe we'll play, 80%, 85%, save 15, 20% for the next game. They end up getting beat. And it's the same thing. Like the World Cup, for example. England played their final in the semi-final. That's why they went through. New Zealand didn't. It was if they'd have got to the final, they'd have pulled something out of the bag. They would have won. You pretty house on it. But they didn't play their final in the semi-final. They have to. So it's about sort of, it's for you, right? That year before showed, and also the year after showed. It's a lesson. It's not a failure. We all have those times where it kind of makes you sit back and wonder, oh, I might have fucked up or failed, but I actually learned a hell of a lot from it.
I learned that I really love teams as well. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
look, the team's way cooler.
I
It's
tell
just
you what,
funny.
I miss teams. I miss
It's,
teams, man.
it's just so much fun, and I love doing it with friends. Funny enough, I say this, and I'm doing team nationals next weekend. So the
Nice.
year after, like, what was it? That was last year. 2019 was last year. So you know how they cut all regionals and all sanctional, and their sanctionals came through.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to. Oh, well, Jamie Green basically takes our top spot for the women's open every single year. I would love to see her be like someone to come up and be super super competitive, but whose level was just out the gate. So you're kind of like, oh cool, okay, now the open is really fun and not so stressful because you're not trying to qualify in top 30 and repeating
Mm.
workouts all the time and worrying and stressing about where you are and leaderboarding, all that crap. Because as many people say as they don't care, they care. Come that
Oh
fourth
yeah.
in the open, people care. Like they really, really do. And I'm exactly the same. Like, yeah, I'll do this for fun. I'll do this for fun. No, no, no.
You're
If
still
you're a
gonna sell your
good athlete,
soul.
you're still gonna compete as hard as you possibly can. You still care about where you end up to a degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it was nice. It was actually quite cool. Last year's Open, just did it at Trailblazer Friday nights with everybody. So all had a good time. Like usually I'll be like, nope, Saturday morning, I'll do the workout and then I'll be by myself and I can be in my own zone, not be distracted, and all that jazz. And
Oh
yeah,
really? Are you
that's
more of like a like your own space, go on your terms, or you're
I
not?
used to. I used to because sometimes, because like in most gyms, like nearly all CrossFit gyms do this Friday night lights when it comes to the open and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily being by myself. It's you have to accommodate for other people. And
Yeah.
when you're in the zone of trying to give everything you've got to something, selfishly that athlete comes out and you're like, I don't want to think about what someone else is doing. I don't want to think about judging someone else. I want to think about what I need to do, and I want to have everybody set this stuff up for me, so all I need to do is focus on the work ahead, nothing else. So as selfish as that is, that's what you want to be in. If you're gunning for a good spot, then
Mm.
you don't want to be just you want to eliminate all those distractions as much as
Mm.
possible. But then, like last year, I did the open with everybody, and it was cool. Like it was mean. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. Probably also because it was relaxed. Because I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get a top spot in the New Zealand Open this year, which is fine. Um, but yeah, it was really fun. It was really cool, and I did the workouts once every single time. At the time, I was also doing a lot of strongman training because like from regionals the year before, I did realize that I'm also like, and knew this, a weaker athlete in comparison to the others. So I was just like, I've got to just build up my strength a bit more. So I just
Mm.
peeled back and just did strongman and weightlifting for a bit. And that was fun. That was fun. So when it came to the open, I think I trained like 4 weeks out from it. And I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just cram it as you do. And
Yeah.
it was so much fun. It was really, really cool. And it was my like progress from it was great because the workouts that I wasn't as strong, well, I would have been like I would have seen as being like, oh, I can't lift that barbell because it's like too
Mm.
heavy for me. I could lift it because I was stronger. So like those kind of things, like the progress I saw in my strength through the open, which was really rewarding for me. Um, and then I ended up qualifying. I think it was seventh anyway in the New Zealand Open, and that's considering like people overseas like Jamie Green, like Harriet Roberts, all our other New Zealanders. So like I actually didn't do too bad. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But after that, we were like, okay, what do we do now? Because there's no regionals and like sanctionals are cool, but I don't want to do individual stuff. And then Callum was like, let's put together a team for Down Under, which is like basically like the Pacific regionals
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Wollongong. Exactly the same weekend, exactly the same place, run by the exactly same people, which has been awesome every single year. Love Wollongong. They do such a great job of running that event there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, cool. Who's in the team? And at the time, Callum was like, yeah, I'll be in the team. And pretty much when he said he was in the team, I was like, cool, I'm going to be in the team because it gives me an opportunity to be a teammate with him again, which is
Mm.
really important to me. And then and then James Connew was another person who has been like a regionals athlete multiple times. Missed out of the games by 2 seconds, walking over a line. So funny.
Fuck.
I know, by just walking over a line, he gets so much crap for it all the time. And Michael Makari, who's like a regionals athlete, individual, great athlete, and he's been around in the game in New Zealand for years. And then another girl called Rachel Palmer, who was someone from CrossFit Isamaki. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll pull this team together. And we had 2 trainings together, but we're all friends. Like we all know each other, the same group of people, and we've all hung out when we're together and stuff. So like we're friends at the end of the day. We had 2 trainings together, and we went to regionals. Oh, sorry, we went to Down Under and came 4th. Just missed out on 3rd by like 2 points or something like that. Like very, very little. So that was really cool. And this year we were hoping for it to be like, okay, we're going to go to the games again. Like that was our goal at the beginning of the year before this COVID business. Like we were like, nah, okay, let's try and gun for the games. So that was our goal this year again, to go as a team, but obviously due to circumstances.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did Down Under last year as a team, and then I think I did 2 other partner competitions with my best friend Stacey Lesatanga. So I did like Torian Pro, which is a great competition over in Australia, hosted in Brisbane. And then just did Tutoa, which is like a competition up in Rotorua, but like I haven't done any individual sanctionals yet.
Are you open to it?
I want to, yes. I want to, because I want to do it to overcome what I went through at regionals.
Yeah.
But because
I get that.
I will go into it with the mindset of being like, okay, I just want to have some fun. That's all. And that's
Again,
what
it's
I'm
on
like
your
when it
terms,
comes
right?
to, on my terms. And now that's what I'm like when it comes to competition. Like I'm super relaxed. If I'm there, then I'm chilling out, just having a good time and laughing all the time. Like at the end of the day, this is just fitness, right? I
It's
mean,
just
like
adult PE.
100%. I mean, like not here, like being a
Yeah.
sponsored athlete. This is not my life. Like this is not what I do for a living. You could barely make any money out of like competing as a CrossFitter. Like you need to dedicate your life to,
Unless you're Fraser
unless
or
you're
Tia.
Fraser or Tia or Tia.
Yeah.
You have to dedicate your life to being at the top of that game, and even then you're very, very lucky to actually make it there. It's big risk.
So how were you balancing, like what were you doing? You mentioned your event company. Were you with the event company throughout the time that you were training for regionals and the games and
Yeah. So
that on?
I've been working at there for, I'm going to be working at Multimedia Systems for like 3 years before I went to Isamaki. And then like event management's not easy. Like it's long hours. So being on the floor and being an event manager, you're always dictating and talking with people. So it'd be like a 4 a.m. start to a like midnight finish and whatnot. But it was very obvious in work years when I was training for regionals and the games, it was very obvious that I wasn't 100% there. Like I couldn't give the same amount of effort to my work, which is not very good, but I just couldn't, because I was so passionate and driven by being in CrossFit and doing this one goal. So like my performance there, I know would slip because I'd come away from things really early and whatnot. So it was really, really hard to manage. All my energy was basically going into training for the games and for regionals.
I mean, you can't give 2 things your 100%, right? By
Nah.
very definition, it contradicts each other.
Yeah.
Were your bosses okay with it at the time, or were you just
They
kind of
were
like getting under the
okay.
radar?
They were okay. They knew exactly what I was doing. I like communicated with them with everything and stuff. And they were right. It's just like not giving it the attention that it needed to. Like hate doing things half-assed, but being able to pay attention to detail and be present in that space. Like I just wasn't present, and I think that in itself becomes noticeable. And that's like with everybody. You can notice when they're not necessarily there in that space with you because you don't have that underlining attention, and I don't think you can hide from that.
No.
Mm.
I mean, it's definitely hard to be able to juggle those two things.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I was quite
uh,
happy to finish it. But to be fair, like I did that for 10 years. I had been an event manager for 10 years and I'd come to the time where I'm like, okay, one, this job is not necessarily going to be great for my future because like if I was to one day have a family, I like seeing people around me, they're never with their families. They're always working, and I don't want to be like that. I want to be able
mm,
to spend time with my kids whenever I wanted to, or like even just that 9 to 5, be able to dictate when I got home and leave that at home. Because
mm,
also when you're doing events, you've got to get things right once, right? So if I had a show on Friday night and I had people emailing me at like Thursday night at 10 o'clock, then like I'd always be on my phone at home. So it was hard to
yeah.
really distance yourself from it. So like for an ideal lifestyle, it just wasn't really what I had in mind for my future. So there are not like other factors that came into it, not just the fact that I was frothing over CrossFit.
Yeah. I mean, we all do, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, to some degree. To some
Like
degree.
we love to hate it. We
Yeah,
curse you
yeah.
out while we're there. We blame the coaches.
Yeah.
Everything's shit. It fucking hurts, and then we're
Oh,
like, "I'll see you tomorrow."
totally, totally. Sometimes I'm
Like,
just like with some of the members, and I'm just like, I love them to bits and stuff. But sometimes they mention something about the program, and I'm like, you know what? Like, all you got to do is put your head down and do the work, and you're going to come back the next day. Until
yeah,
you're like Tia and Fraser, then you can be like, oh, yeah, maybe this ain't for me. But, like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's
yeah. I
really
had the same,
interesting. It's really
same.
interesting because I haven't been a coach. I learned to coach basically through my experience, and also like I don't have a background, an educational background in health and science or whatnot, which I'm working on. But like I just learned through experience and becoming a leader at a gym and being a part of that as opposed to being a member or an athlete is very, 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 very different.
Yeah,
Um, and that was quite a shock to me when I came down to Christchurch because I was always an athlete on the side. I didn't understand the running, managing of a CrossFit gym. And then when people look up to you and when they can't,
hmm,
when you're responsible to a certain degree of those people, it's
hmm,
so different. Like
hmm.
two completely different parts of CrossFit. And
Like they are like complete polar opposites, right? Because of an athlete, like you said, everything revolves around you and your training and your recovery and your nutrition and whatever. But
yeah,
when you're a coach, like by definition, you are at the bottom of the list.
yeah,
And like
100%.
everyone else has to go before you.
Yeah,
And then
100%.
it's like, how am I supposed to do that? But then also train and then also like stay sane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's difficult. The balance, it always is a balancing act.
Yeah, it's hard.
There's
It's
peaks and troughs, right? There's going to be times where you're going to have to reduce, say, for example, the coaching to increase the athlete, and then also the other way around.
mm, yeah,
Um, it
yeah.
depends. I don't know. Depends what puts more fuel on your fire.
Totally, totally. And I think like being a part of a gym and a leader of a gym now has definitely changed that perspective of me as to what like I want out of CrossFit. So like
Mm.
I'm kind of like I do want to compete again, but I'm shifting out of that space of being like, do I actually want to compete again or do I want to focus on helping people? So and trying to shift between like trying to put the athlete behind you a little bit is
Yeah,
really, really hard to do. You
yeah,
might know this too. Like it's super,
but
super hard. Like, and you are torn constantly. You're going back and forth. And it's just like, this is just like, I just don't know what to do. Sometimes you're like,
yeah,
nah, I want to be an athlete. I want to be an athlete. I'm going to put myself first. And then you're like, you see these beautiful people that you look after and you help and you make a difference when someone like can't box jump 6 months ago and all of a sudden does a box jump. You're like, that's so cooler than like
yeah, yeah,
someone doing like multiple muscle ups or something like that. Like it's
yeah,
incredible. It really,
yeah.
really is. But then
And
yeah,
like
like
something that like I believe in, but I don't know about you, so I'll give it to you. See if you understand. Like leadership, right? It's an act, not a title, right?
Yeah.
And like for me, everyone looks at the person in front of the whiteboard and they're like, they're the leader, they're the person, like they're the Messiah that we're gonna follow through the Dead Sea or whatever. But we look at them in the same way. And
Yeah.
like people don't realize when they come through the door really timid, like, oh no, like you said, it's box jumps. I'm only stepping onto a 5 kilo plate at the moment.
Yeah.
Like they're a fucking leader for other people in the class. They're a
Yeah.
leader for us. They push us and other people in it. And like it's funny because I used to say this all the time when I was like coaching classes all the time, and I was like, I learn more from you than you learn from me.
That's exactly what Kip said to me when I first started coaching.
Yeah.
What does he say? Like two people learn at the same time, or like rather than one person just learning, like the
Yeah.
same thing basically. But yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
But like
Uh,
15, or say for example, you got a class of like 15 people, right? They've
mm,
got one source of like learning. So
yeah,
if they just learn from the coach, they got one source.
yeah,
But we got 15
yeah, yeah,
because we can learn from all of them.
yeah. So
Oh, and like
true. We're so
it's
lucky.
yeah, it's really interesting. But the
Yeah.
balancing act between that and an athlete is it's hard.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
really hard. Like I
Yeah.
constantly like come into the gym sometimes and like new people come through. So if I'm training, then I'm like, shoot, there's someone at the door. I've got to go to the door because like I'm kind of the person that everybody kind of gravitates to is like
Yeah. Yeah.
introducing. I'm because I'm the mama of the gym, like
Yeah. Yeah.
um it's just it's really really hard, and I guess it comes down to exactly what you said, what satisfies you the most, and then making the decision and keeping yourself accountable for that decision.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I keep trying to think about at the moment is like, I'm not going to do CrossFit for the rest of my life. Like
Mhm.
I want to be helping people for the rest of my life because that's
Mhm.
powerful. But like, am I going to be a CrossFit athlete when I'm like 65 years old? Fuck, it would be mean to be a masters athlete. Yep, but that means I'm going to miss out on so much in order to get there, and I know what it's like to miss out on things
Mm.
from my CrossFit Games experience, and I
Mm.
just am not in that personally. I'm not in that frame of mind to miss out on that at the moment. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's just what you're willing to sacrifice, right? Like I see it
Yeah.
as like there's like three buckets, all right, and you can only put water in two of them. One of them's like coaching, one of them's being an athlete or training, and the other one's life.
Mm,
And
mm,
like you can only put water in two of them. If you want to do that balancing act, great, but then like you basically sacrifice life, and it's
yeah.
like
You do.
you you can do it for a short period of time, I guess.
Yeah.
I've got the utmost respect for coaches that can do it and they
Yeah.
compete at fucking high levels and they're still an incredible coach. I'm like
Yeah.
fucking fair play because
Yeah.
like
100%.
I don't know how they do it, man.
Well, that's also energy that you're giving to somebody else that you probably need to reserve for yourself, right? Like it's all about that energy containment and like trying to preserve it and trying to direct it in the right ways too as well, and being smart about that. But man, that's hard. I don't know that yet.
And then you still need at least a little bit to then come home and give it to
Yeah,
your partner and your
yeah,
like immediate family and
yeah.
like your
Or even
home
to yourself,
and
or giving
yourself.
it to
Yeah,
yourself. Like
exactly.
I always struggle with that, and I like constantly. I'm like, "Ah, I'm so tired, so
Mm.
tired," because I am always pouring from an empty cup at the
Yeah.
moment. And that it's all that balancing act and trying to time manage yourself better, trying to um, like work out how you give your energy and what you give away and then how much you keep for yourself too. Because we all do love CrossFit. Like I want to keep training. I love like being fit. But at the
Mm.
same time, as an athlete too, you're like, man, I've been way fitter before and I'm going into this competition next weekend. I'm just not where I wish I was. And like
Yeah, yeah,
where you wish you was is like, full time checking on your nutrition, checking on your sleep, like that is your focus. It's just
yeah.
so
Yeah,
funny.
it's funny. It is funny when like, holy fuck, you just did what? And I'm like, no, it's not impressive. I've done quicker before.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've done it. Like, no, I'm not fit, quote unquote. And you're just like, dude, calm the fuck down. You're all right.
Yeah.
Like you're in, everyone's working out. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like CrossFit is something that we do to put water back in the cup, right? So then
Yeah.
we can pour into our buckets, into the other avenues. We need those activities to put water back in, and that endorphin rush, and that like lying on the floor looking up at the ceiling thinking what the fuck just happened, like it's a special feeling.
So good.
Yeah, it's a special feeling.
It is pretty special. So funny. So funny to think about, but it is pretty special. That like feeling of achievement is
Yeah,
pretty nice. Pretty mint
yeah.
down.
But I don't pretty mint, yeah, sound. But I don't think I'd be able to do it if I wouldn't have the people around, you know? Like
Yeah.
I do enjoy my space and being able to just grind, but then I
Mm,
think I'd lose myself. It's the
yeah.
people. It's the
Yeah.
people that you walk in for and they keep you coming back, right?
Yeah, 100%. I remember when I started training by myself, and I remember being upset constantly because I was so used to, like, I would train with Megan Gifford for 4 years, just us two every single day, and then like weekends would be with the team. So we'll be and at East Tamaki they have like kind of like our EPP on Saturday mornings. They have like a group of competitors, and we get together and you train. So you have like fun, joking banter and whatnot. So I was always surrounded by people. So when I had to adapt to being by myself, and also being in a different gym and how different gyms work because they're all so different too as well, and thinking how lucky
Yeah,
I
for
was up
sure.
at East Tamaki. They're all so different. I mean,
So different.
it's just weird. I am very grateful for what I've learnt being around the people at East Tamaki, um, and being in that space. I think it's more the people than anything else. But like trying to adapt, being on my own and train on my own was different.
Mm,
Was hard. Was hard.
mm.
But we got there. But it was hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I got some quick fire questions for you.
Cool, cool. I have like moved up to my bedroom at the moment, and I've
Yeah.
got to get onto the other charger here.
I, oh, that's all right.
It's all right. Cool. Quick
So
five. Are these like? Okay, tell me.
10 of them, quick one. Favorite meal?
Lollies.
Lollies?
You said quick. I'm a
Like
sugar girl.
Haribo? Or
No, no. That's the worst brand ever. I'm
oh, get
sorry,
out.
but they are no. Okay, if I was to choose a
What?
meal or if I was to choose a food, I would say saganaki. So like hot halloumi cheese.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Very nice. Squeaky cheese.
Mm.
Favorite movement or exercise? And your favorite workout? Two in one.
Oh, that's so hard. I'm gonna go with a ring muscle up,
Oh, nice.
and I like Nate.
Oh, Nate.
Yeah.
That's a. Were you the one? Were you there when you did regional, Nate?
Nah. That was the
Oh,
year, but that was the year I was at a team. So gutted I didn't get to do that. That was
like
so tough, man, but it looked so cool.
I remember doing. This was fucking years ago, maybe like 4 years ago. I remember doing like a combination of Cindy and Nate, like it was back to back.
Oh,
And I just remember it being one of the funnest workouts to do because like nothing's going to stop you,
yeah,
and you can
yeah.
just sort of plug away through it. And oh yeah, it's quite fun, but also extremely painful on the hands. What about least
Yeah.
favorite? What don't you like?
Oh, I don't like to say it, but I don't like heavy squat
Oh,
snatches. I'm
hurts my
just not
feelings.
good at them. That's all. I like to say that I'm challenged by them, but like there's just one movement that I just can't seem to get
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So like, but they're beautiful and they're so good to watch people when they can do them amazing, and they're so good when they feel good. But I just have like this complicated relationship with them.
Complicated relationship. Fair enough. Complicated relationship with a snatch. Moving on. Are you a morning or a night person?
Oh, that's a good question. Depends on what I'm doing. I'm gonna go with a. Oh, I train at nighttime, but I get up early in the morning. Okay, this is not quick fire. I'm gonna go with morning.
Morning.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Ooh. Mm. Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Nice. Favorite book?
Ooh, Mindset.
Oh, Carol Dweck.
Yeah.
What a book.
Yeah, it's a great book. It was Kelsey that
Yeah.
introduced me to that book. It was a great, great, powerful book.
He's a great dude. I'm gonna knock on his door to get on here in
Yeah.
not so distant future. 3 things you'd say to a young lifter or someone that would want to walk into the shutters of a CrossFit gym but aren't confident enough.
It's just
So 3
fitness.
pieces of advice.
3
It's
pieces of
just
advice.
fitness.
It's just fitness. Probably. What did I say? Be kind to yourself, because I think that a young athlete can put a lot of pressure on themselves, and be patient.
Just fitness, kind of yourself, and be patient. I like it. I like it. So in comp or in training, it doesn't really matter. Are you a cool and collective athlete, or are you a hype the fuck up and let's start going?
Oh man, I'm a cool and collective athlete. I will make jokes until the very, very start, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, I gotta start."
Yeah.
So I am very cool and collective. I never used to be.
No.
I never used to be. It was the people that are around me that were like, "Okay." Like certain people fire me up, but very, very few. Very few.
Yeah. What's your go-to fire you up song? What do you like?
Oh, do you know what I love to train to? Actually, Fleetwood Mac is my jam.
Wow.
Depends on what it is though. Like I went through my whole regionals prep just listening to Fleetwood Mac all the time. Keeps me chill, mellow, and it's like a good time. Random.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, whatever gets you going, you know. Do you have like an anchor or a morning routine that you stick to every day that gets you set?
um, well, it's a bit different when I'm coaching classes, but I like to make sure that I get up, I make the bed. I do like at the moment, I'm doing like 21 days of gratefulness, which is like a bit of a 21-day challenge of doing like saying 3 things I'm grateful for, 1 thing I love about myself, and then 1 positive thing about the day before, and then to message somebody to tell them how incredible I think they are. So that's a part of my morning routine at the moment. And then peppermint tea, smoothie, and then coffee. That will get me through to like my first meal, which will be at like 10.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really like the one where you message other people.
Yeah, it's nice to give back to other people. It's not like doing it. I guess it is a little bit selfish in a way you do it so you feel good about doing something for someone else. But it's just I think it's a really nice thing for people to wake up and then they see this amazing message about themselves. Like it's got nothing to do with how our relationship is. It's like about them as people. So and you don't know what people are going through, so it just might help.
110%. You never do. You
Yeah.
never do. And it's the whole thing of like do unto others, right? As you
Yeah.
want done unto yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. If you describe yourself in 5 words.
This is so hard. These are not quick fire questions. Okay.
Deep question.
I would say I'm genuine. I would say I'm kind. I'd say I'm generous, understanding, and silly.
Silly. Nice. Nice.
I take life
Spot on.
lighthearted. I've been through that stage where you take life way too seriously, and I'm
Fuck
like
yeah.
there's certain things that I'm passionate about, but I like to look at things lighthearted to a degree.
I mean, you gotta have fun, right?
You
Otherwise,
do.
what are
Or
you doing it
else
for?
it's like, yeah, 100%. If you don't enjoy it, then why do it? Why do it? Too.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, last thing. If people wanted to find you because you're a kind of cool individual, where would you send them?
Probably to my Instagram account, which is Gemma Root. Yeah, real creative. Gemma Root on Instagram, or you'll just find me on Facebook as also Gemma Root.
I thought you said as awesome. I was like, just type in awesome. Yeah, and I just pop
No,
up.
no. I think like
Nice.
my Instagram photo was like a photo from regionals 1 year.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It was from the workout. It was when I was sponsored by FitAid, and it was and I'm wearing a FitAid singlet. And in this workout, it was like 21:59 of dumbbell snatches at like 30 kgs for girls and ring dips. And
Wow.
it was the year that, like, I don't know if you remember, but it was the year
All
that
the
a
pec
lot of
tears.
guys, all the pec
The
tears.
pec tears.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally. And I remember in my last set of snatches, I remember doing this workout in training, and I didn't do very well at all because I wasn't very good at ring dips. Still pretty average at them. But because of the standard at the time where they've got the band that's just above that connects the two together, people couldn't do the whole just hinge your hips back and then just, do this up down business. You had to actually dip and then try and extend and get your back right up. So it threw a lot of people off. But I remember doing my last set of 9 dumbbells, and I was so delirious in the workout that I picked the dumbbell up with both hands. And the coach was like, oh, the judge was like, and the coach looked at me and goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, shit." Put it down. I've done so many stupid stuff like that before, but that picture on my Instagram profile is of that moment, or just before that
Oh,
moment when I picked it up with 2
fucking
hands.
brilliant.
Delirious.
I still remember, what was the chest to bar and the thruster, the 33, the 20, whatever it was. Was it like 2018, I think it was, in the Open?
Oh, yes.
That's
Yes.
the
Thrusters and chest bars.
that's the
20.
last time I competed, because I was injured and then I was moving here and I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah. And I I still remember doing the first round and I didn't know where I was.
yeah.
And
Judges
I'm
are
like,
for, right?
I was just continuously doing chest to bar. And my judge was like, "No, what are you doing? You're done. Like, no rep. Go on the bar." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And just
In
like
the first
stumbling
round.
everywhere.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
like I was like I was judging all evening. Like
Yeah.
the atmosphere was fucking electric for the Friday night, and I was like so hyped up, but I'd been hyped up all day.
Yeah.
And then basically the crowd came into like the floor, because
Yeah.
obviously you only needed a bar and a barbell
Yeah.
to work out. So the whole like sort of crowd came forward. All the lights were like massive. We had a DJ that was going mental. It was hot. I was dehydrated, and I was like so fucking ready. I was like, let's do this, boys. I did the first round and I'm fucked off.
Oh shit. I love hearing those times. Like I really do love hearing the times of when people just like shit the bed on the workout, but you're just like, don't know. You put so
Yeah.
much into it, and it's just at the end of the day, like I said, it's just fitness. And we get so into it that it's like, oh, this is everything. This is my life, la la la. But it's just funny. Just fast exercise.
It's just adult PE.
Adult
That's all
PE.
it is. All it is.
Why you just
Adult
gotta have
PE.
a good time, do it
Yeah.
with people, and
Yeah.
then just put everything on the floor and then just walk away. Easy.
And then grab a beer.
Yeah, mates. I
Nice.
still haven't. It's funny. It's only this year that I've become comfortable with having a drink and enjoying it, because I've always been like, if I have a drink, then it's going to jeopardize my training.
Oh
So
wow.
long, and it hasn't come until like lockdown where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy this, and it be
Mm,
all right, and it's
mm.
okay. So long, and I'm like, man, I missed out.
What did you drink at choice?
Oh, I do like a good rosé at the moment. I like
Oh,
rosé. Yeah.
Vimto.
Yeah.
Fizzy
Pardon?
Vimto, as it is.
Fizzy pink stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fizzy pink stuff, yeah. Sweet
Yeah.
stuff. I like it. All right. I know you're a busy lady, so I won't keep you any longer. I really appreciate it. Gemma Root, any numbers or any of that
No,
weird
just
hyphenate?
Gemma Root.
Oh,
No, it's just Gemma Root. I'm that
nice.
creative.
I mean, type in awesome into Facebook and she'll pop up.
Uh,
Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
All right, spot on.
Down.
I will see you later on. Peace.
Peace.